I stood in front of the gilded mirrors of the Grand Plaza Hotel, adjusting my simple navy dress. At $12,000, the custom-made Oscar de la Renta piece was anything but simple, though its understated elegance would fool my family, exactly as intended. "Miss, the service entrance is down the hall," a staff member called out, eyeing my deliberately modest appearance. I smiled softly. "I'm here for the Chin Parker wedding." "Oh." His face flushed. "You must be the other sister." The other sister. That's what they all called me now. Victoria, the golden child, was getting married to Michael Chin, heir to the Chin real estate empire. And I, Alice Parker, was the family disappointment who couldn't hold a job. If they only knew that I own not just this hotel, but the entire chain of Grand Plaza hotels across Asia and Europe. "Alice." My father's sharp voice cut through my thoughts. "At least you managed to show up on time for once." He stood there in his custom tuxedo, every inch the successful investment banker, flanked by my mother in her designer gown and my sister Victoria in her pre-wedding robe. "Cutting it close, aren't you?" Victoria smirked. "The ceremony starts in 2 hours. Did you at least bring a gift, or are we going to be embarrassed in front of the Chens again?" I thought back to last Christmas, when they'd mocked my cheap gift, actually a rare vintage wine collection worth more than their cars combined. They'd probably sold it for a fraction of its value, never bothering to research its worth. "I have something arranged," I said quietly. "Please tell me it's not another one of your creative gifts," my mother sighed. "This is your sister's wedding to the Chin heir. Do you understand how important this marriage is?" "Speaking of gifts," my father cut in, his voice dripping with disdain, "the Chens just gifted Victoria and Michael a penthouse in their new development. What could you possibly give that wouldn't be embarrassing?" My phone buzzed. A message from my CO. "Final paperwork complete. Grand Plaza Group now owns all Chin real estate properties in Asia. Announcement ready at your signal." I smiled, tucking my phone away. The Chin Empire had been struggling for months, secretly selling off properties to stay afloat. My shell companies had been quietly buying everything, and today the final deal had closed. Michael Chin wasn't exactly the heir to anything anymore. He just didn't know it yet. "I'm sure I'll think of something appropriate," I murmured. "Well, it better not be like that investment advice you tried to give last year," Victoria laughed. "What was it?" "Some unknown tech startup. The startup that had tripled in value since then, not that they'd listened." "Alice," my father began, his lecture voice in full effect, "while your sister was building her career and finding a suitable match, you've been, what exactly?" "Still doing that consulting work you claim pays the bills." "My consulting work?" "Running a global hotel empire under a pseudonym, making billion-dollar deals while they thought I was scraping by." "Something like that," I replied. "Well, at least try not to embarrass us during the ceremony," my mother added. "The Chens are very particular about face. Having one unsuccessful daughter is bad enough." Just then the hotel manager rushed up, looking flustered. "Excuse me, but I've just received word that the owner is making an unexpected appearance today." My father straightened immediately. The Grand Plaza was the most prestigious hotel in the city. An audience with its mysterious owner was rare. "The owner? Here?" Victoria's eyes lit up. "Maybe we can discuss hosting some Chin real estate events." "Yes," the manager confirmed, then turned to me. "Madam, your private elevator is ready." The silence that followed was deafening. "I'm sorry," my father stammered. "Did you just call her?" "Madam," the manager repeated, confused. "Ms. Parker is the owner of the Grand Plaza Hotel Group. Surely you—" He trailed off, noting their shocked expressions. Victoria's perfectly glossed mouth fell open. "What?" I smoothed my simple designer dress. "Actually, we should discuss the Chin real estate events. There might be some changes in management to consider." "Changes?" Michael Chin appeared, looking concerned. "What changes?" My phone buzzed again. "Press release ready. Grand Plaza Group acquires Chin real estate in historic $8.2 billion deal." "Oh," I smiled, finally letting my carefully maintained mask slip. "I think we're about to find out." The champagne glasses in my parents' hands started to shake as realization dawned on their faces. "You," my father whispered. "You own the hotel." I finished for him. "Actually, Dad, I own all of them." And as of 10 minutes ago, I turned to Michael. I own Chin Real Estate too. The sound of shattering glass echoed through the lobby as Victoria's wedding day took an unexpected turn. The silence in the hotel lobby was broken only by the gentle tinkling of crystal chandeliers. Chandeliers I had personally selected during the hotel's recent $100 million renovation. This is impossible, Michael Chin stuttered, his face ashen. Our company, my father would never. Your father signed the final papers this morning, I said softly, pulling out my tablet to display the contract. Chin Real Estate has been quietly selling off assets for months to cover its debts. Did you really not know? Michael's hands shook as he scrolled through the documents. His father's signature was clear at the bottom of each page. But you're supposed to be the failure, Victoria whispered, her perfectly curled hair starting to wilt under the stress. The unemployed sister. Unemployed. I laughed softly. I've been running Grand Plaza Group for the past 5 years. Those consulting trips you mocked? Board meetings in Dubai, Tokyo, London. That cheap apartment I live in? I own the entire building. My father grabbed the tablet from Michael, his banking experience allowing him to quickly grasp the magnitude of the deal. $8.2 billion, he breathed. The acquisition, the restructuring plans. This is brilliant work. Thank you, Dad. Funny how my business acumen suddenly becomes apparent when the numbers have 9 zeros. The hotel manager, still standing nearby, cleared his throat. Madam, the board members are assembled in the penthouse suite. And the press is requesting a statement about the acquisition. Victoria's eyes widened in horror. Press? Oh no. This is my wedding day. You can't. Actually, I interrupted, considering that your fiancé's family company is now a subsidiary of mine, I think this is exactly the right time to announce it. My phone buzzed again, a message from my CFO. Chin stock halted on Hong Kong exchange pending announcement. Your call when to release the news. Michael sank into a nearby chair, his designer tuxedo crumpling. My father, he never said. He couldn't, I explained, feeling a touch of sympathy. Part of the agreement was complete silence until the deal closed. Your father protected you from the truth about the company's financial situation. He wanted you to have your perfect wedding day. Some perfect day, Victoria spat, tears threatening to ruin her elaborate makeup. My own sister ruins everything as usual. My mother, who had been uncharacteristically quiet, suddenly spoke up. All those times we belittled your career choices, mocked your supposed lack of success. You were looking at an empty stage, I finished for her. The real show was happening behind the curtain. The hotel manager approached again, more urgently this time. Madam, the board is waiting. And the Chin family has arrived in the private conference room. I checked my watch. A subtle Cartier piece worth more than Victoria's engagement ring. Tell Mr. Chin I'll be up shortly. And please ensure the wedding guests are comfortable. This may take a while. The wedding? Victoria shrieked. 200 guests are about to arrive. What am I supposed to tell them? I turned to her, remembering all the times she'd flaunted her success in my face. The family dinners where she'd detailed her rise through the corporate ranks while everyone ignored my mysterious consulting work. Actually, dear sister, I have a proposition for the happy couple. Michael looked up, his face hollow. What kind of proposition? Grand Plaza Group needs a regional director for our North Asian operations. It's a significant position, requiring both hotel and real estate experience. The Chin family's connections would be valuable. Hope flickered in Michael's eyes. You mean? A real job, Michael. Not an inherited position, but one you'll have to earn. Starting from the ground up, learning the business properly. Both of you. Victoria's mouth opened and closed soundlessly. But, I continued, that depends on whether you want to go through with this wedding. Now that the circumstances have changed. My father stepped forward, his banker's mind clearly calculating the implications. The merger of families is still valuable, even if the power dynamics have shifted. Shifted? I laughed. Dad, I now own more real estate than the Chens ever did. The power dynamics haven't shifted, they've been completely upended. Another buzz from my phone. International press requesting comments on the acquisition. Forbes wants an exclusive on the secret hotel queen. The manager approached once more. Madam, Mr. Chin is asking. Tell him his future daughter-in-law's sister will be up shortly to discuss his new position in the company. Victoria grabbed Michael's arm. We need to talk. Now. As they hurried off to some private corner, my mother touched my arm gently. Alice, all these years. Save it, Mom. We have more pressing matters. 200 wedding guests are about to arrive to what's either going to be a wedding or a corporate merger announcement. Either way, the Grand Plaza's reputation for handling delicate situations is at stake. My father was still staring at the acquisition documents. The structuring of this deal, the timing, you orchestrated all of this to culminate today. I smiled, finally letting him see a glimpse of the business acumen he'd never bothered to notice. Consider it my wedding gift to Victoria. Either she gets a real career and a chance to prove herself, or she learns what it's like to be the family disappointment. The sound of approaching guests began to filter through the lobby. Time was running out. Now, I said, straightening my simple designer dress, shall we go upstairs and discuss the future of our combined family enterprises? After all, I smiled at my stunned parents, it's still a merger of sorts. Just not the one anyone expected. The private elevator ascended silently to the penthouse floor. My parents stood rigidly beside me, still processing the seismic shift in their family dynamics. In the mirrored walls, I could see my mother mouthing silently what looked like calculations, probably trying to figure out exactly how much her unsuccessful daughter was worth now. The doors opened to reveal the entire Chin family waiting in the luxurious penthouse suite, my private residence when I stayed at the hotel, though they didn't know that yet. Mr. Chin, the family patriarch, stood with his head bowed slightly. Gone was the arrogant businessman who'd negotiated Victoria's prenup. In his place stood a man who recognized new authority. Miss Parker, he said quietly. Or should I say, Madam Chairman? Alice is fine, Mr. Chin. We're almost family after all. I gestured to the magnificent view of the city through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Shall we discuss the future of our enterprises? Victoria and Michael slipped into the room, their faces showing they'd reached some sort of decision. My sister's perfect wedding makeup was slightly smeared, but her spine was straight. Before we start, Victoria said, her voice stronger than I expected, Michael and I have decided to go ahead with the wedding. I raised an eyebrow. Even knowing the circumstances? Michael stepped forward. We want to prove ourselves. Take the position you offered, learn the business properly. He glanced at his father. No more shortcuts, no more relying on the family name. Mr. Chin nodded slowly, pride and resignation warring on his face. My son shows wisdom. Perhaps this change is what our family needed. My phone buzzed again. The press was getting impatient downstairs. 200 wedding guests were filing into the hotel's grand ballroom, unaware of the drama unfolding above them. Very well, I said, moving to my private office adjacent to the suite. Let's make this official. I pressed a button and a hidden panel slid open, revealing multiple screens displaying real-time data from all Grand Plaza properties worldwide. My father's sharp intake of breath was audible. He was finally seeing the empire I'd built while they thought I was finding myself. The announcement goes out in 10 minutes, I stated, pulling up the contracts. Victoria, Michael, if you're serious about this, you'll both start as management trainees next month. Equal pay, equal expectations. No special treatment. Victoria's fingers tightened on Michael's arm. We understand. Mr. Chin will retain an advisory position on the board, I continued, and the Chin family name will remain on select properties. But make no mistake, Grand Plaza Group is in control now. My father cleared his throat. The structure of this acquisition, it's masterful. The timing, the silent buyouts through shell companies, the media strategy. Yes, Dad, I smiled slightly. All those investment theories you said I'd never understand? I was listening. I just had a different plan for implementing them. My mother stepped forward, her society mask finally cracking. Why didn't you tell us? All these years. Would you have believed me? I asked quietly. When I tried to discuss business strategies, you told me to leave it to Victoria. When I suggested real estate investments, you said I should focus on finding a husband like Michael. So I built this empire in silence, watching while you celebrated Victoria's small victories and dismissed my supposed failures. The screens behind me lit up with new data: stock prices, property valuations, merger details. The total worth of my company scrolled across one screen: $23.4 billion. Victoria gasped. That's more than the Qin Empire at its peak? I finished. Yes. Quite a bit more. My phone buzzed one final time. Press release going live in 2 minutes. Wedding guests seated. I turned to Victoria and Michael. It's time to decide. We can announce the merger and postpone the wedding, or... No, Victoria said firmly, surprising me. We'll have both. Announce the merger, but let us have our wedding too. Let it be the symbol of our family's true union. Not the one we planned, but maybe something better. For the first time that day I saw my sister, not the golden child who'd overshadowed me. I saw someone ready to work for her success. Very well, I nodded. Mr. Qin, would you like to make the announcement to your guests, or shall I? The old man straightened his shoulders. We will do it together. As family should. As we prepared to descend to the ballroom, my mother touched my arm again. Alice. I'm sorry we never saw. Mom, I interrupted gently, you're about to be the mother of both the CEO of Grand Plaza Group's North Asian operations and the woman Forbes is about to call the Hotel Queen of Asia. Maybe we can start fresh from there. The elevator doors opened to the ballroom level. I could hear the murmur of 200 guests waiting for a wedding. Instead, they were about to witness the merger of not just two people or two families, but two empires, with the supposed family failure holding all the cards. My father's voice was barely a whisper as we walked toward the ballroom. We spent years pitying you. I smiled, straightening my shoulders as the doors began to open. Don't worry, Dad. I spent years building an empire. Learning to forgive might actually be easier. The doors swung wide and we stepped forward into the bright lights. A united front, a new dynasty, and a very different kind of wedding day than anyone had planned.